for cover.
Mines has been quite an interesting map this season. We have seen so many different ways of it being played, but as we see Batchat Get Flanked, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Get Flanked is going to bring 3 Batchats, 2 113s, and then a grill with last minute iron, as well as Carjack sitting in that SPG, the M4043.
Meanwhile, High bringing 2 113s, 3 Batchats, a TVP, and their own M4043. Neither team really challenging the hill. Sniper, though.
Fulcris, if you remember, I believe it was on this very map, actually counter SPG'd. I forgot who it was, but it was within like the first 13-20 seconds of the game.
Yeah, I want to say it was...
Who was it?
It was Chase from Deja Vu.
Yeah, that was nasty.
And the first shot actually going out onto Chai Sniper there from that artillery. And Get Flanked have already actually gotten the hill. They used the climb on the back side of the hill at F6. Not the easiest climb to do. Well, I don't want to say it's not. I'm not trying to say it's hard to do, but you have to hit it at the right angle at the right speed. It does take a little bit of practice. Some of the Silver League teams found that out trying to use it in some of their matches during the monthly finals yesterday.
This is the first time I've seen Get Flanked's camo, and I gotta say it looks great. I'm a fan. I love white. It's my favorite color, and then that little light blue, it's cute.
Yep, and then High's camo, oddly enough, is like the one...
Have we seen High's camo? Actually, I don't think so.
That's the thing about High's camo is one of the ones that looks like it's almost actually like
an actual tank.
It's supposed to be actual camo. It could actually blend in with something. A lot of these teams bring in like these bright whites and pinks and purples, interrupting their team colors.
Don't get me wrong.
They look great.
It's like a little tiger camo here going on with High, but I gotta, white's my favorite color. So I mean, not relevant really at all, but the camos of these tanks are definitely awesome, especially with the team logos. And as I say that, Anipans is gonna put one right in the rear of Ali the Persian dude, and he's gonna get away from that second shot. Might try to peek it. He has to be careful though. Losing a bad shot early would not be good for Team High.
So the thing to note there with last minute iron is he's actually running coded optics on his Grill 15, so he should be able to spot out to that one line effectively and get any shots on anything crossing.
Yeah, and that one line right now sitting there is the bat shot of Blue Mini with Magenta Panda coming up behind. So if he is looking that way, it will be very interesting to see if he could snap off a shot. And again, that Grill should pen a bat shot. I say should, but if this season has proved anything, it's that the bat shot actually has the best armor in the game.
So one thing that I just noticed was Fulcris actually tried the same blind shot that he landed on Chase Potato on Tuesday.
I'm sure I probably noticed that.
And it missed.
Get Flanked noticed that.
Yeah, last minute iron saw it. He moved a little bit worried. However, Carjax is nice and safe, sitting over behind the building at Kilo 9.
He's nowhere near the same spot as Chase was.
So at this point, it looks like High are shifting over down the one line. They're moving those 113s towards cap, but they've left a single Batchat up at A8.
And of course, it is Romstar and Field My Potato, the two Wonder Twins of EU here now in the NA region, playing so well with Team High in those 113s, pushing towards the cap of F3 and G3, that 2 cap.
Actually, fun fact for you, Romstar, I'm not sure about Field My Potato, but Romstar is actually from, I believe it's New York, but he actually lives in the States, so he doesn't count against the region lock. However, he is Russian.
Yep. A lot of movement, though, coming out of both teams here on the map. So obviously, when James and I refer to something, if you're fairly new to reading that map, we say something like F1 or F2 or the 2 line or the A line, that refers to every single postcode here on the minimap.
All of the grid squares.
Yes.
So when we say like the A line, we're just talking about A1, A2, A3, and all the way across. Typically, it correlates with some road or spot. For example, the 1 line straight down, A1, B1, all the way down. So we're just talking about that whole line down there, especially more towards the bottom.
And Ollie the Persian dude firing a few shots off. He finds one on Bobby, unfortunately doesn't get anything else, and he should be dropping his clip soon here. Oh, shots though from Blue Mini now as he has the shot onto Bobby, and this is a little 2v1 action happening with the crossfire. I like what I'm seeing here. Chai Sniper going to take some damage, and Brian taking out Fulcris. Unfortunate. Already a tank down. That SPG didn't do anything for Team High at all. And there's still 7 tanks up for Get Flanked.
Magenta Panda going to find a shot on Last Minute Iron. They both are spotted. Last Minute Iron pulling forward, hoping to find a snapshot off.
Yeah, but the problem is now Last Minute Iron knows that SPG is down.
Cap. Look at Cap. It's 5 seconds.
Wait, what? 5 seconds? How did we even miss that?
And the reset does come through. Last Minute Iron pulling forward and just getting a very lucky snapshot off as Chai Sniper also goes over the top and finds another reset.
Bryant going to find another in perma-trash here in that TVP. So Get Flanked looking good. They have a 2-tank advantage, although it's potential to go down to an even fight here as Andy Pans and Bobby have absolutely no HP at all to play with.
And it's neck to neck on HP. However, it is going to be Blue Mini that pushes in to find Last Minute Iron.
And unfortunately, Last Minute Iron is going to go. Wait a second. There
he goes down. Meanwhile, it is dead even, except Get Flanked have a slight HP lead, and they're actually up on guns as well.
Yep, they're up 2 tanks. Bryant is killing everything on the field. Get Flanked. He is doing so much work for his team right now.
Letif just coming down behind Feel My Potato, emptying his clip into him, and getting the kill there.
What a dominating first game here from Get Flanked.
I don't even know if I'd call it dominating. It's dominating. Just back and forth stuff.
Absolutely dominating.
The thing that really tipped it in their favor was
uncharacteristically in one-sided favor of Get Flanked.
They got in there and they did pick up that artillery, which definitely helped them out a good bit. Even Carjax is still alive at this point. Last Minute Iron, the only one that went down, and even that was a bit of a misplay out of Blue Mini. Blue Mini almost completely fluffed that and went down, put a shot into the dirt.
Why always raining on my parade? When I say I'm trying to get this is exciting for me.
It's an extremely close match, and this really could have gone either way. Is my point? Few little things went in favor of Get Flanked.
You look at the HP pool of Get Flanked, and all those tanks are potentially one shot aside from maybe 2. But overall, I mean, Get Flanked really played that well, and they did dominate that field. They put the damage where they needed to. Bryant was just executing tanks left and right. In my opinion, that was great play from Get Flanked.
Yeah, what I do like is they did recognize that they could take map control. If you can take the hill, you want to. However, we've seen a lot of defenses recently just kind of shy away from the hill and not really challenge it. They used the climb. They got up on there with the bat chats, and they didn't have to take any damage. They took control of the hill. At that point, they had vision control for most of the map. They knew that a majority of the guns left alive for high were over in the 1-2 line. And then once they realized that the back was kind of open, and now the Persian dude was in a place where he couldn't really see that rotation, Brian was able to go through and pick off the artillery. And then from there, it was just Get Flanked constantly pumping out the damage.
Yeah, and here we see Blue Mini, and actually all the Persian dude were top of the damage in those bad shots, 29 and 2,800. But then Bryant with 4 kills and 2,600 for the top of his team of Get Flanked, and then followed closely by Last Minute Iron, who actually went down, and then Chai Sniper at 2K, and then the rest drops off. And then on the other side of things, we see the bottom, which is mostly, in fact, the bottom is, fortunately, all-team high with Feel My Potato, Romstar, who are both at the 113 sitting on cap, and then Magenta Panda and Fulcrus. Now, I will note this is Feel My Potato and Romstar were actually just 5 seconds away from winning that game for high.
But Last Minute Iron got off, looking at it, Last Minute Iron actually got off 68 base defense points, as well as, I want to say it was Chai Sniper got off another 70. So, both of them
Get Flanked really coming in there.
Yeah, so they were able to, a little bit lucky. Last Minute Iron was still spotted when he poked around that corner. So lucky they didn't take more damage. He had to snap the shot off, got the reset at the same time. Chai Sniper went over and reset the other tank. And that was, from that point on, that game was pretty much Get Flanks. I do like, it's not that I like the opening out of high. I see what they're going for there. It's very compact. It made it very hard for a Get Flanked to really get resets on that cap. That's kind of the risk you go when you don't challenge the hill. You better do something else somewhere on the map, especially as an attacking side. So they made sure that they took that one line. They got those tanks all the way down on the bottom, and they had that crossfire going. And that's the only way that that cap can really become viable is if you have complete control.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I do have more of the offline match results, and it is going to be Eclipse tied with 07, 1-1. Hey!
So 07, not out of it yet. Still with some fight.
Yeah, I led you. You thought it was going to be like 2-0, 3-0. It's 1-1. Gotcha.
And we are on to battle number 2. Back on mines, the teams have switched sides, and now it is going to be up to High to defend and Get Flanked to attack. Going over the lineups, Get Flanked coming in with 2 TVPs, a 113, 2 Object 140s, a Batchat, and an RU 251. Meanwhile, High, a 113, 3 Batchats, 2 TVPs, and an RU 251 of their own.
Some slick Arctic camo in a very green field.
And it's actually these TVPs that are sitting here looking for free damage on anything pushing up towards the hill. Blue Mini is the only tank close to the hill for High. He is going to pop up, and he might actually take some damage and or spot some of these guns. He does get lit, but doesn't actually spot anything in return right now.
And he is obviously going to back up because losing that 113 early would be atrocious for Team High.
He is going to be decently hull down. There's just a little bit of a deflate here as he pops over, and it's only his gun mantlet and turret popping up. And the thing,
like the Persian dude firing blinds and being spotted, he's going to take a little damage for his trouble. Interesting. Chai Sniper barely getting away from a shot of Ali the Persian dude, but again, no one was spotted on the side of Get Flanked.
Yep, and High holding tough here. And this is kind of what I was talking about as far as High's offense goes last round. They're giving up control of the hill. However, they're making sure that they have one line control, and they've committed 3 Batchats down to H1, J2, and K2 to make sure that they do that. If they gave up the hill and they gave up the one line, it's really, really hard to defend. However, they're making sure that they control the one line and that they control that 2 cap by giving up that hill. And if they want to push on that 113, a bunch of guns are going to be in good positions to punish.
And Andypan's making that solo climb look pretty flawless. Pretty effortless there.
Gets up there.
Difficulty-wise, how hard is it to do that? I mean, it didn't look that terribly
hard. It takes
hard.
a good bit of practice because you have to know exactly where your tracks will get traction, essentially, and when you have to turn to get up there. I've actually seen some people out there criticize some teams for using 2 tanks to do those boosts. They know a lot of times they know that they can use 1 tank to just do that climb. However, they send a second tank because they want to make sure it happens, and the 2 tanks doing it is guaranteed. So yeah, they pull 1 tank out of the fight, but most of the time they're set up to where no brawl will really happen when they're doing it, and they just make sure that they're extra safe and they get it up first time. However, Andy Pans didn't need any help, made sure he did it first time, and it's just kind of risky. We've seen some teams sit there and take like 2 minutes to get a tank up, doing it over and over again.
By that time, the defense has completely collapsed on them, and they're losing.
Yep. So it does make some sense if you can do 1. However, having a second person there to help you out isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, Permatrash taking some damage here from none other than Andy Pans, the man that got up to that solo climb himself, obviously. I say solo climb. And he's doing a fair bit of damage here.
Yeah, but High just holding firm in their defense. However, Get Flanked up by about 1,000 HP, taking a couple shots into both Ali the Persian dude and Permatrash so far.
Problem is, though, is sure they're up on HP, but, I mean, they are attacking. So they have to make something either work with that cap or they need to, at some point, wipe out the team of High, which I guarantee was not going to be easy.
They do have Andy Pans up on that hill like we saw earlier, so they could make some sort of aggressive play out of the 8 and 9 line. They would have the isolation on the RU. The problem is that TVP is dug in there in that bottom corner. TVP of Feel My Potato is back there. It's actually Romstar sticking in the tier 8. Didn't even notice that. But Feel My Potato and that TVP is behind those buildings, and they'd have to commit someone to go get him. If they want to go get him, they have to cross the other TVP of Permatrash sitting over at K4. So definitely a little bit tricky defense to crack. However, you just have to kind of do the raw math. It's 2 TVP clips that come in at 2,400 if they push, with multiple tanks, and the other guns aren't really able to get in there. They will be able to go and get that TVP out of the bottom corner, and then it becomes a response game. How quickly can High move their Batchats from the 1 line over into Kilo 4, Kilo 5, and get down there and start trading out with those tanks. So it's just who can move in response first. However, it is up to Get Flanked to make the opening move here for that to even be a problem.
We are noticing Get Flanked here. They are massing up their tanks right around C4 there. Interesting to see whether they take a push on that hill or if they try to go around towards the 1 cap. We are going to see the little 251 of Carjacks kind of make it towards that way. As the Andy Pan's bat shot continues to rain down on the team of High.
So what it looks like Giflank are going here is they're going to start moving tanks towards the hill. These 148s move up with this 113.
I was right for once.
The RU-251 is just going to push down the 9 line here in the low ground and try to spot that other RU. At that point, Andy Pans would have clean shot sauce on him. The only thing he has to worry about is that TVP in the distance having clean shots, because he definitely have to overexpose a little bit to make sure that Romstar goes down. Our biggest thing is he needs to make sure that Romstar has to back out, because when Romstar has to start moving, then that's when these other guns from Get Flanked come into play. They've kind of left these TVPs a little bit out wide on the 4 line, and so they're just trying to isolate this RU and then hopefully some of the other tanks. Now the thing is with that TVP where he is, if they only force that RU out so he can't get lights on this 1 cap, there is no way for High to really easily get resets without having to push all their guns through essentially the whole team of Get Flanked. It's actually
something to notice. 4 minutes left, James, on the clock.
However, it's actually going to be Carjacks that is trying to move up towards Cap. However, Romstar does spot him, and Romstar actually hasn't been spotted yet. They've just been blind firing the bush that he was sitting in. However, I'd expect Andy Pans to get to a position.
This was
to
also
take him
very
out
interesting.
soon.
Romstar is in the 251 instead of Blue Mini.
Yeah, no, I made a comment about that earlier.
I know, I usually don't listen to you, though. I'm sorry.
Ouch. Would explain a lot. Meanwhile, Andy Pans just trying to find some shots. The biggest problem is they haven't gotten rid of Romstar in that RU-251 yet.
No, they haven't. And he is, like you said, going to be a thorn in their side.
And Carjack's just sitting behind that rock down there. The only bit of cover he has, so it's going to be up to High to kind of figure out the response for us. Their bat shots are going to start moving over towards the middle here. And the biggest thing...
Andy Pan should have shots on them as they come down, though.
Yep, and the biggest thing for them to worry about right now, because what it looks like is going to happen is High are going to group up their tanks and they're going to retake the hill, and then they're going to reset the hill the cap from the hill. So it's going to be up to the tanks of Get Flanked to really respond right now. Blue Mini is going to push up here.
And here comes Team High. TVP of Last Minute Iron is getting focused down. Bryant right in front there with that 113 is also getting shots, and so many. Down he goes to Ali the Person Dude, but Tri Sniper going to clean up Blue Mini in that 113. Now this is an all-out brawl on the hill as we see Last Minute Iron is going to back off and try to get around and get more shots. Ali the Persian Dude taking quite a bit of damage here. Last Minute Iron is still being very cautious as well, but still 40 seconds left on that cap.
This is working out very well for Get Flanked. They responded to that push out of Hide very well. Their crossfire put them in a good position to really focus on these
taking out
tanks.
Magenta Panda. Very solid play. Get Flanked is looking primo right now.
Carjax does get spotted, so he has to back off. However, Andy Pans is going to drop down towards Cap.
2 minutes left here. Get Flanked has to finish them off. They have to make this play that has worked out so well right now. They have to finish. Can they finish? That's been their biggest problem, James.
Yep, no, absolutely. Ledif is going to come in here and try to find Fulcrus.
There goes Feel My Potato now. 2 tanks left for Team High is Get Flanked.
Come in, all down to Romstar. Romstar goes down, and that is a 2-0 lead.
Let's go. Get Flanked is not out of it yet. In fact, Ali the Persian Dude almost kind of eating his own words. I'm a fan of Ali the Persian Dude, although I know many people may not be for whatever reason. The thing is, though, the problem is I have with Ali right now is he said they're going to put him in the dirt, and already that's been debunked because Get Flanked is up 2-0.
All I have to say is if you are either on Rival or you are a fan of Rival Simple Tankers, you are sitting here biting your nails, hoping that offline score is still going in favor of Eclipse.
Oh,
because right now, Get Flanked don't look like they're going to slow down anytime
not
soon.
At all.
So I do like the play out of Get Flanked there. They set up with that crossfire very well. And just look at these numbers.
This is all Get Flanked, too, coming in with the 140 doing 3K. Andy Pan's doing 2,700. Chai doing almost 23, pretty much 2,300 damage. And then Last Minute Iron and Ledif rounding it out with 2,200 and 1,700. And then pretty much the bottom of this list is going to be High all the way to the second page where it's only Carjacks in the 251, understandable, and then Bryant, unfortunately, who did get taken out first. with 0 damage, but look at that.
Bryant did his job. He was essentially what I want to call an HP pinata.
Right.
He was the first tank when that
that's
push
why I
came over.
said, Brian unfortunately was going down, but
He sucked those tanks
him and
in.
Carjacks did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Exactly, and the 140s up on the hill were able to sit there and shoot the tanks trying to kill Brian that 113. Also, Ledif and Last Man Iron, those TVPs, also kept cranking out shots.
This news just keeps getting better as it's now 2-2 with Eclipse versus 07. This is a match day, This is the type of day that makes me really want to wake up in the morning and come here and cast for all our lovely and amazing viewers as well as Wargaming, Ute, everyone. Oh, just what a day.
The math going on right now, the fact that that 4-way tie that I was talking about,
it
is
might
on track to happen.
It might happen. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
oh man,
I don't know. The fact that this is something that I didn't even foresee happening.
I'll use the word fathom for you.
I saw the math. I saw that it could be a possibility. But the fact that
it was like a 1% chance, which is slowly turning into like a 20-30% chance.
Giflanked are on their way to their 3 points. Rival not picking up anything. Now 07 2-2 with Eclipse.
So follow us on social media, by the way, at WGLNA, as well as using the hashtag WGLNA.
Let us
Twitter.
know what you think of tonight.
Talk to us, hit me with some knowledge.
I don't even know.
I don't really
right
even
now.
know what to say. I mean, I'm tempted to just start dabbing.
The next 2 maps.
Throw one of these. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Don't
it's
ever
lit.
do that again.
I'll do it.
Don't.
Excuse me?
Please
don't ever tell me how to live my life.
Oh, I just did.
Anyways, please continue.
Anyways, looking at it, the maps coming up just make this whole matchup just even more
I see a
entertaining.
cliff, by the way, somewhere in the mix. I'm not going to say when. Oh, but I will say this. Overtime map for the day is Himmelsdorf. If we go to overtime.
If we get that far, just the maps, the next 2 maps are going to be really interesting.
This is
very
tanks, man. This is exactly what I wanted to see today. This is what I'm seeing today. Get flanked. I love it. High, though, is a team that I enjoy, but I'm scrambled. Let's go to the next map.
Ruinberg, a mixed-type map. The defending team starts the battle on the green, and the attacking team starts at the centre square of the town. Bases are located quite far from each other. Both bases are better controlled from the village when playing a heavy setup. It's better to attack the first base through the top direction with the help of several well-armoured heavy tanks. For the attack on the second base, it's better to use a more mobile setup and either play through the centre or split forces. In general, the map is not easy to play on. Teams often use blind shots and risky shifting of the forces from one flank to another.
The lineups coming in here.
Battle number 3.
4 get flanked. IS-8s are really T-10s. For those that know, the IS-8s were in the game until about a year ago when they were swapped out for the T-10s. I'm not really sure why that is like that. Meanwhile, 2 215Bs, 2 50Bs, and an Object 430. Meanwhile,
on the side of Team High, I will. It's going to be 4 113s, a Bat-Shat, and then 2 little baby Bat-Shats, the Tier 9s.
Yep, so they're bringing these 2 Tier 10s, parking them right up against this C5 corner. It is get flanked on defense and High having to attack. And I already don't like this out of get flanked because they're using Last Man Iron to push down here into this bottom
he's
corner.
He's going to push right into those Bat-Shats. It's not worth it. Don't do it. He isn't ready.
He needs to get over in this bottom corner and get turned around. He might stand some sort of chance. However, 113 not necessarily the best tank for this. It does have good camo. It does have good DPM.
I mean, if it was like an IS-4, even IS-7, but obviously that tank isn't even that fast.
And the push is just coming out here.
Oh, and here they come. Lots of tanks coming into the Delta Village here. Damage coming on for Team High as well as for Team Get Flanked. Ledif in a position in the back, but he's got to make his shots count. Ali the Persian dude is already half HP.
The brawl is just breaking out. Damage going every which way. However, Get Flanked are struggling to find one target.
They are. Blue Mini in that Bat-Shat Tier 9. It may go down here in a moment, but Ledif and Last Minute Iron as well as Brian are taking quite a bit of damage here. Ledif fighting Permatrash for his life. That tank should be out and reloading. Unfortunately, Blue Mini is going to be able to come in and clean up Ledif, and there it is. Meanwhile, Shut Up Shake and Anipans and those T10s are doing quite a bit of damage to the back here. Feel My Potato going to take out Chai.
And Anipans puts a shot into Romstar, doesn't finish him off, and this is just back and store stuff. However, Get Flanked are up on HP.
Get Flanked are up on HP, but they are down on guns. As Shut Up Shake takes down Romstar, Ali the Persian Dude should be going down here in just a moment.
And these two T10s are coming up big right now. However, Andy Pans is behind.
Bobby going to take out Magenta. Andy Pans needs to take out Ali the Persian Dude with this last shot. He has to.
He bounces.
And he bounces. That sucks.
However, Shut Up Shake looking for a shot. Bobby firing actually a shot off towards the other Batchat.
And he's not going to make it. It's now down to Shut Up Shake and Bryant to take out these 4 tanks. It's not... Oh, well, okay, now it is. I was going to say it's not within the realm of impossibility, but as Andy Pans went down, unfortunately, the cleanup crew, look how devastatingly low the HP pool for Ali the Persian Dude, Perma, and Blue Mini are. That could have been an incredible pickup and an incredible cleanup. And just as I was getting on the coattails of Get Flanked, High shuts me right up and quickly takes that map.
They started off with those...
the first battle on that map.
They started those T10s
Ruinberg.
so far in the north. It took them a while to get down there, to get into the fight. They moved across.
I agree with you. I didn't like Ledif being all the way down there.
It's a very tricky situation to play, and especially with that sort of dual push coming out of High. They push those 113s in point blank, so all the guns that are supposed to cover Ledif are all busy, and then Ledif's off in a 430 by himself essentially versus 3 Batchats.
Yeah.
So it's just not a tricky situation. Once all those guns are pulled to deal with those 113s, there's no guns left to support Ledif down there, and it's not a tank that's going to survive very well on its own.
And something to point out, that was Get Flanked on defense, which is pretty decently favored there as far as Ruinberg goes. And they lost, which means that we are potentially headed into a 2-2 depending on how they do. But looking at the damage, Magenta Panda and Permatrash of team, it was pretty much all Team High at the top here. 3,300 damage from Magenta, Perma doing 29, and then Ali the Persian Dude and Fulcrus doing 26 and 22. And something to note, Ali the Persian Dude was getting all those shots off while under pressure himself. So very impressive stuff from him.
Yeah, I do like the play out of the T10s once they got there. They understood they showed up late and they understood they had LFP, and so they just drove at the 113s. And a pair just got in there and just were trying to throw their tanks away. They were trying to be shot. However, it was High that had the obedience to just know, all right, these T10s are going to shoot us. We can sit there and withstand the damage, and as long as we focus out the rest of the T10s. So just getting word there that it's actually Eclipse up 3-2.
Okay.
Over 07
I knew
right
the
now.
pause was for something. I knew they were updating you.
Yep. So
3-2.
But to finish my train of thought there, they pushed in realizing they're in a bad situation. Their tier 10 tanks are getting focused down, and so those tier 9s had to get in there and get their HP and guns involved. And they tried really hard. They were focusing fire, trying to knock out guns. However, some good simping out of those 113s.
Yeah,
I think it was Romstar that pulled in front to eat some more shells, keep Ali alive.
Romstar he's such a damn good player.
Yeah, well, they came around the corner and they started focusing off, I believe it was Ali the Persian doing that 113. And then once they realized that he was down to a 2-shotter, then Romstar just pulled forward and made it so the T10s couldn't shoot him anymore.
Correct. And he's done that, by the way, like for almost everyone on this team. Yeah. Romstar is he's like the Avenger of the team. He just jumps. He's like, no, jumping in front of the shots. I've seen him do it multiple times.
Yep.
That was a terrible rendition of me trying to be heroic, but the Romstar is that type of player for High, and it's great to see.
Yep, and it leaves those T10s in a really tricky situation. Do we just fire at this full health tank, or do we, hold it and wait an extra second and try to find a shot onto those low HP tanks? However, they just had to fire off, and it was just, and then after that, the tier 10s, the 50Bs and 215Bs just started dropping because High just kept the pressure on, and those 113s have a lot of DPM.
Get flanked. Still up a game, though. The problem is now they're attacking on Ruinberg, and I definitely heavily favored High on defense here on this map.
I don't know what to make of this lineup for Get Flanked, but just the same, I actually have a pretty good idea about what they're going to go for.
Type 4 heavy. I have not seen that before.
Looking at the lineups, 2 T15Bs, a T57, an E3, a TVP, a Type 4, and a Batchat AP.
Tell me a little bit about that Type 4 heavy and what you think they're trying to accomplish here with that tank.
So it is the Tier 9 Japanese heavy tank, and like I've said about the other Japanese tanks, their sole, I don't want to say purpose in this game, but pretty much what they work best as is just moving bunkers. And
which is what we saw with the Oho many
Andy Pans
weeks ago.
and Ledif are going to catch out Romstar trying to get over into that corner.
No, don't miss. One more shot, and he's down, and there it is. Ledif going to take him out in the TVP.
So it's going to be Shut Up Shake just watching the flank here. However, what I expect to see happen Okay, so they're doing this a little bit differently than I foresaw, but it should, however, work out. It's relatively close to the same idea. What they're moving is they're moving 2 in this just behemoth of a heavy tank up and across this B line, and they're going to put them on the top right corner of this cap, sitting around
so
B4.
It's pretty much the same exact thing we saw. I forget what team it was, but they used the OHO instead.
Yeah, they tried to use the Tier 8. The Tier 9 a little bit larger. It's going to be harder to get resets onto, I'm assuming, Andy-Pans.
So obviously they're bringing the gun just for that giant bunker, but I mean, how is the gun on that thing?
It's all right. Its DPM's pretty bad, though. It's kind of like the 100 gun. It hits relatively hard. I believe it has 650 alpha.
Huge reload.
Just a long reload.
Gotcha.
And it's the gun handling on it's pretty bad. So what they're going to do is he's going to pull forward to this corner, and he's going to turn his tank sideways, and they're just going to put
and
Andy-Pans.
he wants to be spotted, by the way.
Oh, he
doesn't even care.
They don't care. They don't care if they get the reset. And they're actually going to line it up. Oh, they're actually not going to line it up. He hasn't even been spotted yet, so they're getting 2 tanks onto cap. They have a T-10.
2 for the price of 1. Really big tank.
Yep, so they have the T-57 lurking at D1. They have the 215B at D3 watching the rear there. And this one
already 35 seconds. The cap pressure is mounting, but that's not even what the most important thing is about. It's about this giant Type 4 Heavy just being a perfect wall for Andy-Pans in that Batchat Tier 9.
So Fulcrus is going to come around the corner and actually not spot Shake, but gets spotted in return. And
Shy Sniper is actually going to do just that. He's going to snipe down the HP of Ali, the Persian dude, in that IS-4 as he's trying to push up and find the reset. And they are going to get the reset, which of course is expected. This is what we knew was going to happen.
Ali, the Persian dude, is going to get caught out. He's a one-shotter.
And he's living. Lots of bounces coming off the front of his armor. Still bouncing, still living.
Finally goes down. However, Permatrash is in a position to get some good shots on Shake now. His defense, the attack, as it were, for Get Flank.
There it is. I mean,
defense.
not too exciting. We knew that 2 was going to go down in the Type 4 Heavy. That's exactly what he was there for. But shut up, Shake, meanwhile, and a bounce off from Bryant on Blue Mini as he backs up.
And this T-57 just trying to hold this back corner. And the problem is Get Flanked have committed all their tanks to defending the town right now, and they've pulled a lot of guns away from Andy-Pans and Letif, who are the only ones left alive. Meanwhile, the E3 does put a big shot into that 215B.
And as you see, the HP pool advantage is actually in lead of Get Flanked, and on top of that, they have the gun advantage right now as well.
Yep, however, Last Minute Iron's most likely going to go down to Permatrash here. He's trying to stay alive. He's trying to
and there he goes.
Angled.
Nothing he can do here. Letif kind of poking out in the TVP to try to get shots onto Magenta Panda so they can get him out as fast as possible. Feel My Potato is also there, and Shy Sniper taking out Blue Mini. This is still very possible. Andy-Pans is going to take out Feel My Potato, and that's yet another tank there that he can kind of play in between. What a shot! That was beautiful.
Shy Sniper needs to be careful he doesn't get tracked here. I don't know why he's risking it. He just needs to stay alive. He's actually going to cross and not get punished for it.
Oh my goodness. Permatrash is on the other side. Fulcrus also looking at him. Although Permatrash isn't loaded yet, Chai needs to just get out of there, and that's it.
Get flanked. Get the cap.
Get flanked. I feel like they are playing out of their minds right now.
They know what's on the line. They know they need the 3 points. The strat, definitely predictable. I would say
I mean,
it was...
You see that well, you knew what it was, a Type 4 Heavy. I obviously had to ask, but once you told me, I was like, okay, it's the same thing as the OHO. They're going to put it on cap somewhere, and they're just going to sit behind it. And that's what they did.
Yeah, the only time I've really seen the Japanese heavies used, even back in the days of 754, was just as moving bunkers. They're just big, ugly tanks that just happen to take up a lot of space.
That's not nice to say.
I've seen defenders use them to block corners of cap, so you can't put a tank in a certain spot. And then I've seen them as attacking teams using them as a bunker so they can keep the cap pressure going.
All I'm going to say is beauty is in the eye of the beholder, James. No need to...
Yep. No, I really like that play out of Get Flanked. However, they're kind of lucky that Hyde didn't have a better counter for it.
Yep. So Letif coming in big in the TVP is going to do 3,200 damage with Permatrash topping it off for Team Hyde, doing 31. And then Chai Sniper really was doing a fantastic job in that 215B, just taking shots onto the IS-4 of Ali, the Persian dude, as well as any other tank that was coming down that line to contest the cap. And then Last Minute Iron doing 23, then Magenta and Feel My Potato 2K respectively, and then it drops off from there. But I mean, Ali the Persian dude unfortunately didn't get to do that much because Chai Sniper was literally picking him off piece by piece.
Yep, just kept shooting at him, and it was also
Romstar, obviously,
TVP.
just to add, Romstar didn't actually join that game because he got disconnected, if you will, very early from the battle.
Yeah, no, well, he was trying to get over into that back little corner.
Yeah,
at A4.
It was risky.
It's risky. However, Get Flanked knew that was a risk. Running that strat, having a tank there would have just put a whole wrench in their plan.
Right.
And so they made sure the TVP got north early. It should beat him there, and then the TVP, it's also...
It just took him out, yeah.
It's loaded in 20 seconds, and it has enough in its clip to kill a tier 8. So he got there, they made sure that he went down, and then they just kind of slow played it from there. And so I do like Get Flanked thinking kind of all the options through.
Yeah, no, they definitely they were ahead of the curve, and they knew exactly what they wanted to do, but more importantly, they knew what they needed to do in order to make that strat work, and they thought of all the options for the most part.
Yep.
Also, 3-3. Eclipse versus
07. Oh my lord. That just makes things even more interesting. So 2 more rounds for Eclipse, and that puts 07. You'd have to imagine if Get Flanked win this and 07 don't pick up anything, they're going home. Well, they will be going home.
Right.
So 07 know that. They need at least 1 point to at least have a chance with the tiebreaker depending upon the other results. And once again, I'd have to confirm with the admins about what
now
happens.
We see Get Flanked 3-1 as we head into our very next map, which, oh my goodness.
This is going to be fun.
Cliff, the most dynamic map in the league. Battles on Cliff always turn into desperate double-edged fights. Teams start from the same spots as they do in standard battles. The first base is located near the defender's spawn point, and the second is at the bottom of the hill. Sometimes teams split their forces and send several tanks through the 1-2 line to the left of the small hill, but usually both teams play at the center. The attacking team can send one of the tanks up to the lighthouse or behind it. Fast and quick-firing vehicles are better suited for this map, mainly medium tanks, including tanks equipped with autoloaders.
We are on to battle number 5, and the lineups are as follows. Get Flanked bringing 4 Batchats, 2 TVPs, and a T-54 lightweight. Meanwhile, High bringing in 4 Batchats of their own, a 113, a T-54 lightweight, and I wasn't sure if I saw that right, a Grill 15. And the RU-251 of Romstar is going to spot the whole team from Get Flanked as they come around this corner. And as I say that, he actually hasn't spotted anybody. Now he spots Carjax and Ledith, but he doesn't spot the main force of Get Flanked.
Yep, and the main force of Get Flanked is, of course, making their way towards that hill. But we only see one Batchat actually making it there, and that's going to be Feel My Potato. Or no, excuse me. That's not Feel My Potato. That is High. And that is going to be Feel My Potato on the side of Team High, who's going to be the one moving towards that hill. You're right. Get Flanked actually move their entire force of tanks right there at E3 and F3. So normally we see teams generally go for the fight mid, or at least try to go for that donut at the top. But Get Flanked has kind of ignored it completely.
Well, and that comes back. I've talked to it before about just kind of the Russian roulette that happens with the strats and how they set up. And Get Flanked understand, all right, well, if we split our forces, there is that chance that one of those groups will get overmatched, and how do we respond to it? And that's something that we've seen out of Get Flanked a lot, is they run those split strats, but they've more often than not understood how to respond for it. All right, this group's getting pushed, this group needs to make sure they go. And this time deciding to play it a little bit more safe, just slow it down, make sure that they stay safe, and they keep their guns together. Carjack's taking a shot of damage as he moves over there. They will spot Romstar, however, I don't think there are any guns really in position to punish him.
Not really.
This is a very tricky defense for Get Flanked to pick off.
Yeah, and they also have that grill at A5. The grill of Fulcrus is pretty much there to punish anything towards that cap.
Yep. Carjack's just looking around, trying to see if he can relight Romstar over there in that tier 8. Snapping his shot off. And Magenta Panda is actually going to drop down to the low ground and try to get out of there.
Get out? He does. So this is completely the opposite of what we expected. This is the slowest cliff match I think I've seen this season.
So Fulcrus sitting up here at A5, just like we talked about, seeing these bushes. Blind fire
lots
coming
of
in
shots
from those
coming
TVPs.
He's got to be careful.
He just has that one little rock to stay alive. The TVPs are now out, and he's actually going to back off because he knows he can't survive another onslaught like that.
And still 3 bat shots sitting right here, all with full clips. Nice shot, though, from Feel My Potato. That was in between the rooftops there. I like it.
Ronstar still just trying to carjacks, but also trying to stay safe while he does it. And tanks are moving 4 high, and they are massing up and moving towards this 3 line. And
lots of shots coming on to Feel My Potato, though.
And these TVPs are both firing. A Get Flank could be caught with their pants down in a matter of seconds.
Oh, no. This is a very bad situation for Get Flank, but a great read and a great play from high.
And Bobby's just going to try to drive off the side here to keep himself alive.
Oh,
however,
Bobby!
Doesn't slow down
Bobino.
enough and ends up going down to himself. Last minute iron will be loaded in a minute. He should be able to find Permatrash.
That's unfortunate, to say the least. Brian picking up a kill on Magenta Panda. And Ali the Persian dude should be able to finish off, try a sniper, and he does. Last minute iron probably going to go down here pretty soon as Blue Mini now rams very rudely Brian in that bat shot, and he is going to go down in about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good night, Brian.
Andy Pants is actually just going to make his way up to the hill, trying to get out of there. Fulker's looking for a shot on him, and he should find it.
I mean, this isn't a great situation for Get Flanked. 4 on 3, one of those being Carjacks and a T-54 lightweight. It's a tank that has virtually no armor at all. And a somewhat weak gun. You have Last Minute Iron, the TVP, sure, but Andy Pans is kind of stuck on this hill now.
Last minute iron is going to get spotted by Permatrash, but he doesn't know that he's there.
Right. And Ali the Persian dude is fairly low. I mean, Fulcrus, you could argue, well, I mean, he's about 3 shots away from death. And there's only 4 shells in that TVP, although it does reload faster, sure, but it's still an autoloader nonetheless. Once he dumps that clip, if he doesn't do enough damage, it's not going to work out for him at all. Meanwhile, Permatrash is chasing him down. And even if Last Minute Iron was to land all 4 shots, it's not going to take out a bad shot.
Fulcrus does find Andy Pans.
This is done, unfortunately. Get Flanked is going to lose this round, and that's going to take it up to 3-2 in favor of Get Flanked, but High taking another round. And this was a very awkward engagement for me on Cliff. This is not what I'm normally used to seeing.
Well, part of it has to do with how Get Flanked set up initially. They tried to play it safe as far as they didn't want to give some sort of overmatch to High.
That's not me saying that I thought it was a bad play. It's just like it was very weird for me to not see just immediate engagements across Cliff.
Yeah, well, and what they were going for there is they wanted to keep their guns together, and they wanted to make sure they took the 3 line. But the problem is that 3 line doesn't really give them enough map control to touch either of the caps. So they need to make sure that they have some sort of mid control to really touch either of the caps in a sense, because you need to have the middle to control a 5 and up there where they can look down into that north cap. And if you want to make a play around the backside towards the cap out in the east, you still have to control the middle. And we'll go over the rest of that in a minute.
Yeah, and Blue Mini is going to be doing the most damage here for Team High, and the most damage of the game, 3,600 into 113, and then Last Minute Iron and that TVP doing quite a bit himself, 3,500, and then the damage drastically drops off for both teams here, as we now look at Ali the Persian dude, 1,600, Andy Pan's doing 16, and then Permatrash, Fulcrus, and Feel My Potato all sub 1,500, so really not a terribly exciting game as far as the damage done for the spread, but overall, I mean, I think High played that really well.
Yep, so to go over what I was going to go over there, so essentially what happens is Get Flank takes the 3 line, and then they understand, all right, we have the 3 line, but now we need to control the middle somehow.
Right.
And so they tried to rotate those tanks all the way out through the south. And then once they started firing at some of the guns, and High realized, hey, they have these tanks all the way down here in the south. They can't support the few tanks left on the 3 line. They get isolated, and you see the end result.
Yeah, so real quick, just right before we get into the next match here on Cliff, I want to see the standings. Oh, there they are. So, again, this is the story we have to tell. Get Flanked. If they win, they are up 3-2. If they win, they're going to be tied with Rival and High. And 07 would be in the hot seat. However, 07 is doing fairly well against Eclipse. And now remember, Get Flanked has to they have to crush this. They have
need
to win.
the 3 points so
tie.
they go home.
They have to win. Oh, I'm getting an update. What was that?
4-3 Eclipse is the update.
4-3.
So Eclipse 1 round away from almost sealing 07's fate. Now, for that to happen, though, Get Flanked also have to win right now.
Right.
They are 2 rounds away from saving themselves and staying in the Gold League for another few weeks.
I really want to see 07 just get one more round, and then I want to see Get Flanked win. Oh, my goodness.
The 4-way tie. I feel bad for admins that have to sit there and go through all the rules and look at every single little thing. Figure out which
we're
team goes
there,
home
though.
at that
We're
point.
in that situation. Anyways, moving forward, Get Flanked bringing a TVP, 2 Bad Shot Tier 9s, and the rest are just regular Bad Shots, which is going to be 4 of those. And then we have Team High. I mean, again, this is a very autoloader heavy meta now that we're in. It's going to be 5 Bad Shots coming in for High, TVP, and some teams still sticking to the last as a Tier 8 light.
And this is just crazy amount of play. Right now, these Bad Shots are going to come around the corner for Get Flanked.
Permatrash is taking quite a bit of damage. Shy Sniper, though, is taking quite a bit himself. 1545, almost dead, but they're going to pick up Blue Mini, and that's 2 tanks immediately down, 2 Tier 10s, I might add, for Team High. Magenta Panda goes down. Fulcrus is going to be next. Ali the Persian dude is getting focused, and Feel My Potato is taking so much damage. Meanwhile, on the side of Get Flanked, Brian is going to fall to Ali the Persian dude. Andy Pans is low. Chai Sniper is 1 shot away. Ledif is now taking a bit of damage himself, but wait 1 second. Get Flanked in a lightning quick play have just cleaned up Team High.
The problem is they're all autoloaders and they're all reloading. Romstar in that RU is trying to chase down Ledif. Now Last Minute Iron is coming around trying to save him. Feel My Potatoes coming across the top.
And it was down to the Wonder Twins, Romstar and Feel My Potato. Wow. That was fast.
Yeah, so I was just talking about the Russian roulette of how these teams set up on this map and how that opening move can often just decide the round.
Did you see that, by the way? What's the score? 1 round. 1 battle.
Can't even believe it.
And if we go to overtime with Eclipse versus 07,
I don't even know. But going at that round, you know, I keep calling it Russian roulette because it just depends on how they set up. You know, what opening they're going to go for.
It's 4-4. It is 4-4. Wait a second, though. What if 07? What if they beat Eclipse?
Then it's rival going home. If Get Flanked pull off this win and they get 1 more round.
I'm biting my lip. This is nuts.
If 07 beat Eclipse, it's rival that goes home.
This is so sick. Let's go.
Actually,
World of Tanks.
But wait
Gold
a second.
League.
But High get tossed into that. We have to check with the admins.
No,
because
if High loses this,
that'll be a 3-way tie if 07 win. Oh, this is madness. This is pure madness. And looking at this damage.
So, real quick, I know this damage is on the board, and I want to talk about it. Last minute, that match was kind of a blur, right? Obviously, it's going to be Get Flanked on top. I need to ask you something else right now. In the history of Gold League, because you have been doing this forever, pretty much since the start, as far as watching and being a part of this community, has this ever happened where it was this close?
I don't think I've seen any sport event, let alone World of Tanks, where there has been a 4-way tie for a team that gets relegated. I don't even know. I cannot give you a 100% answer on that, but to my knowledge, I can't think of a time where there was a 4-way tie.
Yeah, there's a 4-way tie.
Now you got to remember.
Well, potentially, it hasn't happened yet.
Get Flanked need to win this round, and then depending on that 07
and then 07
result,
needs to actually lose the next round or the next battle.
Or if 07 win, they guarantee their own safety.
But still, that's 3. That's rival going home, I believe.
Well, no, because then it goes. But then High
I don't
versus
even know anymore.
High versus rival.
Yeah, High.
I'm not positive what the result was.
I don't even remember.
Match.
Yeah, I don't remember either. No, High. I believe B rival.
Did High beat rival?
I'm pretty sure High beat rival.
We'll have to check on that one. If High beat rival, then that would be rival going home.
Can I get a confirmation from production, please, if you guys can? I know everyone's busy, but I need to know, did High beat rival when they last played? I need to know that.
That was a possibility that had not even crept into my mind going over these standings. The fact that this chain of events has even happened, I'm truly at a loss for words.
This is nutty. Let's just get into it. Let's see if GetFlank can do it. Let's see.
Murovanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
So, here's the thing. It was, in fact, 5-2 between High and Rival. So, if GetFlank wins and 07 wins, Rival's done.
Now, if Rival get the loss or if 07 get the loss in overtime,
then I don't even know what happens.
There are so many possibilities.
Okay, so anyways, sorry. We apologize. This is just so damn exciting. Going into the lineups here, GetFlank, they're going to be bringing 2 E5s, an STB, 3 Bat Chats, and a Crusader SP, which we've seen before.
That's Tier 7 artillery.
That is a reset machine. Going on the side of High, we're going to have a T-57 Heavy, an E5, a Grill 15, 3 Bat Chats, and then they are bringing their own SPG, but it is going to be the Tier 8 M4043, the American artillery.
There is just so
There's
much
so much going on in my mind. I'm having a hard time focusing on this match, even though this is also very pivotal, because if GetFlank doesn't beat High, then none of this is going to happen.
Yeah, if High win the next 2 rounds, then none of these other results that we're talking about even matter, because it's GetFlank that go home. If GetFlank can close out this round or the next round, then all of a sudden it's going to be 07 or Rival going home.
Yeah, right. But you have to realize that they're defending on Murovanka, which, as history has shown, has been quite defensively sided.
Oh, definitely. And the strat that GetFlank are running right now.
And the history is short, by the way, because this map just got introduced in the league. But overall,
yeah, it's been around for, I think, 2 seasons now. I think it came in the last season.
Right,
of,
I mean, compared to all the other maps that just
Yeah,
came in.
exactly.
I'm sorry, I should have clarified. That's my fault.
Yeah, it is one of the newer maps of the league in general. However, this is just crazy. Romstar sitting here on the cap, and it's up to that Crusader SP to get the resets. The artillery shell landing short there, however, he still does have 50 seconds to find that reset.
There's the Crusader, of course, doing its job, just firing blindly and endlessly on the cap. As Shy Sniper is actually going to peek over and potentially find Romstar. He is. He's going to take the shot. Unfortunately, that was either a bounce or a miss. I didn't catch it, but that is going to hit. And there's the reset. That was none other than the Crusader being obnoxious.
Yep, the Crusader doesn't tend to do a whole lot of damage. It has a really small gun on it. However, any amount of damage or damaging a module is enough to get a reset, and that's all they're banking on, is making sure that they can constantly reset either of these caps. And just Romstar constantly being reset at this point. Now that he's lit, Andy Pan's moved up to get within range to light him. Chai Sniper and Bryant are actually backing off.
Yep. They realize that they're safe with the resets, and this is the thing. Get flanked, really, there's no reason for them to risk it right now. There is literally no reason to risk it. More shots moving forward, though. Very smart from Romstar there. He is going to avoid any of the splash damage. Now, he is not. I doubt he's firing AP, obviously. He's firing the HEs so he can get the reset damage.
The Crusader SP, the small gun, doesn't actually have anything but HE. I do not believe it even has a premium shell. It is just the one HE round.
Okay, well, there you go. It's going to be HEs regardless, but yes. Normally in that situation, if you are playing in a pub and you are in some sort of RD or even a regular tank, if you don't really have the clearest shot on a tank, you want to fire HE instead of AP so that you do get that splash damage and get the reset.
Totally depends on the situation. If there's rubble in the way, pillars, fences, and stuff like that, the HE shells will just explode on contact. Now, if you're in artillery and you know they're behind a building, then yeah, if you hit just off to the corner, the HE shell will indeed splash. Right. However, HE shells out of a regular tank, you still need a direct line of sight to even have a chance.
Well, yeah.
And they cap at 33. They need to make sure they get a reset here. Last minute Iron still trying to pop it up. And Carjax just hasn't been able to land a shot. Romstar doing best he can to be irregular with that movement and be, constantly moving back and forth. Very hard to get a beat on.
19 seconds. As I say that.
It didn't even do any damage. It just disabled the track, which is enough to get the reset.
Yep, and a bounce from last minute Iron, but still trucking along as that gets reset yet again. And these shots are so pitiful. 104. It's like no damage. But again, that's not the job of the Crusader whatsoever. He is doing a perfect...
I believe the phrase is death by paper cuts.
Yeah.
And just more, and Romstar is just taking a beating. There's only 5 minutes left on the clock. Get Flanked are 5 minutes away
from making one hell of an interesting storyline.
Going in down on points on the last day.
But here's the thing. If they win this, they're safe. Think about it.
If they win that, they're safe. They go on to the next round robin. They still have a shot.
Though they have the four-way tie in the face-off, they've beaten both of those teams.
No, it will not be Get Flanked if they win this. Get Flanked will be safe because at the very least, it'll go to Rival. I have to check with the admins once we find out the score to that other result. If 07 do win in overtime, then it's definitely, I could say relatively for certain, that it is Rival that'll go home. Now, if 07 take the draw or lose in overtime, I think it's still Rival going home because the head-to-head tiebreakers are both in favor of the other teams. Now, once again, I have to check with the admins after the match is over to make sure that is indeed what's going on, but that is my interpretation of how it stands.
Carjax there. Look at all the little mini craters from all the shots that have been fired. And Romstar is doing a good job, though. Back down to 34 seconds. Now there's a second tank, and a reset comes on. Ali the Persian Dude realizing that they need to make something happen. Team High is starting to pour a little closer as those bad shots are starting to inch their way forward. Fulcrest still finding last-minute Iron.
Takes him out, one shot, and that could be what they need to break this defense. Great shot out of the M40-43.
And that's unfortunate as well because the Crusader is literally useless aside from making resets. It's not going to get any crazy arty kills. It's not even really going to help with damage. I mean, Romstar, you could argue, sure, because he's been sitting there taking like 56 shots. But aside from that, if any more of the tanks fall from Get Flanked, I don't really see them being able to pull this out.
It looks like they're going to – the push is going to come out of High right now. They have about a 1,300 HP lead.
3 minutes left, though. If Get Flanked can potentially keep resetting them to the point where it'll be about
15 seconds on cap.
10 seconds, they could pull it off on time. But time is no longer on their side. 9 seconds left. And Andy Pan's taking a lot of damage. These resets are not going to be enough. There's 4 tanks on cap right now. 3 of those are still holding that timer. There's a good reset.
Hit the E5, however,
but Ali the Persian Dude is going to take him out. 19 seconds, 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Still resets coming in. Ledef now getting caught out. Bryant getting caught out. This is not looking good. In fact, this is going to go in favor of Team High, which means that if Get Flanked does not win this round, this battle coming up, battle number 8. If they do not win it, it is over. Get Flanked is done.
They were so close there. They set up very well. However, just Fulcrest just took out last-minute Iron in that STB. A great shot out of that Tier 8 artillery. And that's the effect that those Tier 8 artillery can have. Just completely put them down. The Grill 15's not actually going to find the Crusader SP yet. The Crusader fires.
I'm a little upset only because I like the strategy of the Crusader SP, and I think we saw Eclipse use it effectively and actually win with it. But again, if you lose a tank early, and that was just Fulcrest in the M40-43 taking out the STB there. If you lose a tank early, that Crusader then becomes something that's useful as a reset machine to be completely useless.
Yep. So, and once again, it did work versus other teams, but that's because they made sure that their other 6 guns stayed alive and kept up and kept pumping out damage, and that's the only way you can really justify bringing that Tier 7.
To be fair, there was no counter arty that they had to worry about. Yep. But at the same time, Get Flanked. Make my dreams come true here.
So Fulcrest in that artillery, top of his team in damage, 2,500 damage over 5 shots, and the majority of that was onto that STB.
Yep. And then we have Ali the Persian Dude coming in at 22, Blue Mini and 2K in the grill, and then Magenta, Batch at 25, doing 1800. Not a lot of damage, really. It was just towards that last push. As we look at Carjacks, 41 shots fired for 1100 damage. Again, Tier 7 not going to be doing too much damage to the Tier 10 armor, mainly there to reset the cap, but it's down
to one round.
It's down to this round. This round literally is going to shape the rest of the first round robin.
Get Flank's lifeline is in their hands right now. They need to
win. Which is a much better position than I would say Rival is in, because they have no control anymore, and they played phenomenally on Tuesday to put themselves in a more favorable position. But right now they're kind of stuck, just hoping that Get Flank cannot close this out, at least without overtime.
Yep. So they need, Get Flank need this win. If they don't get this win, then all of a sudden it's not going to look good for them. They will lose the head-to-head with 07. However, with 07 being in that overtime match, that moves them up to 10 points.
I still don't have the result of that. I am very curious.
Yep. So Get Flanked need this win or they go home, because with 07 being in that overtime match, they've already got enough points to where an overtime win for Get Flanked isn't enough for sure. And it never would have been to begin with, because the head-to-head win in 07's favor. So they need this win.
All right.
One round decides.
This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The final side of Murovanka, and it is going to be Get Flanked now attacking. We will have to see if they can pull it off. We just watched High pull it off on offense. It's doable, but my God, is it going to be difficult. And Get Flanked, at this point, there was way more pressure than there was last round. But they're coming in with 2 bat shots, an E5 and I7, a Centurion action, and of course a 140 and a 251.
Yep. Meanwhile, High bringing an E5, a T57 heavy, 3 bat shots, a grill 15, and a 1390.
No SPGs this round whatsoever, and immediately we're watching Get Flanked make a very far southeast play. Immediately going east.
Yep. Romstar just choosing a bush here in the middle of the field. It's going to be very hard to find right there. Get Flanked moving down the 8 line with the majority of their tanks, well, all their tanks to be exact. The RE-251 out in front, making sure they're not driving into some sort of ambush. E5 and the I7 pushing down. And High just setting up in a pretty standard defense. They do have the grill down at K4.
K4.
Meanwhile,
it's all right, I got you.
1390 sitting in the bush still. And the blind fire coming out for Get Flanked so far. They haven't connected with anything. They're trying really hard to find those shots. Romstar just sitting there with his tail between his legs, as he will, just hoping he doesn't get shot.
The implications of this one round alone is mind-boggling to me right now.
Ledif actually gets spotted back there in the distance. Has to be Romstar. Blind shot still coming out.
So, I'm going to take this very somewhat dull moment in this match to let you know that Eclipse has won. Get Flanked, it's up to you. Get Flanked, it is up to you. Please.
Is it going to be Rival, or is it going to be Get Flanked going home at the end of tonight? We will know for certain within the next 8 minutes.
Right. And of course, I'm not rooting against Rival at all. It's just I want to see that tie. I want to see the clincher.
That is just absolutely
Plus, I mean, I do love Dwight, and I love that camo. No bias. No bias.
So Rival will have to be disappointed with their performance earlier. They could have avoided this whole mess, and it could be...
It's all up to Get... Man, the High right now, Rival is holding them up on the highest of pedestals.
High are sitting here fighting for their lives because they don't know what the score is to their match.
No.
For all they know, it's tied 10-10. If Get Flanked, the way to look at it is if... Let's say that 07 had won, though. Then that puts High tied with Get Flanked and Rival.
I don't... I can see the wheels turning in your head right now, James. There's a mouse in there working overtime. Let me tell you.
So what I'm trying to get at, though, is Hyde don't know the result of the other game.
And
they don't want to risk
this is interesting
anything.
because, again, in the face-off, Ali the Persian dude said that they were going to stomp them, and they find themselves on reverse series point.
3.5 minutes gone, and GiftLink don't look like they're any closer to making a move right now. They haven't figured out where Romstar is.
Oh, shots on a last-minute iron, and the bounces.
So lucky there. The grill bounces off him. The T-57
that
bounces
literally
two
could have
and
been
misses
him
two
gone.
more.
Yeah, that was extremely dangerous. I don't even. My mind is mush right now, thinking of all the possibilities, and it all comes down to this one very round, James. This one freaking round.
Yeah, they need to find that 1390 if they want to have any chance at making a play on the 2 cap. They can't even consider putting carjacks on that cap until that 1390 is dead. But they don't know exactly which bush he's in. They just know that they constantly are getting lit. They don't even know for certain it's the 1390. It could be one of the bat chats. We've seen that out of a lot of teams. And they do have that second bat chat set up in a passive position at H5. Permatrash. So they're just getting lit from multiple angles. It's really hard for them to figure out.
5 minutes, about 5:20 seconds left. And there hasn't really been any plays from Get Flanked.
And the IS-7 is going to start creeping through the town.
They hit Permatrash, though. And look at those laser pointers starting to focus in on the area of Permatrash. Carjacks is also going to take a shot. Lots of shots coming on.
They're just barely missing by inches.
Again, Ledev taking a little bit of damage as well. This is dangerous with only 4 minutes and 50 seconds left.
Four minutes and 45 seconds from deciding who goes home and who stays.
And this defense from High is very impressive right now as well. The setup, I like it. Spread, but not too spread out, not losing too many tanks there, giving any overmatches over. We have that bat shot of Magenta Panda safely at the lighthouse. Or tower, I'm not quite sure what that was.
Yeah, he's up there by that lighthouse, and the thing to keep an eye on is actually Folkers is gonna have a shot on the rear panel of Chai Sniper from all the way back here. So Chai Sniper needs to be careful because he could lose a ton of HP with one shot.
Carjax is also not doing too well in the HP department as he is trying to reposition. This is what I don't like from Get Flanked right now. They're in a bad spot, and they're just complacent to stay in it. They're not really making any active efforts. Finally, we see some movement from the team, but they're just literally sitting there. And in fact, they haven't found the 1390 of Romstar, which means they can't just push forward blindly like this, and they're bleeding HP.
They're just losing HP.
They're losing HP, they're losing time, and they're not doing anything, James. And Bobby with a huge risk. Oh no.
He does find Permatrash. However, it's probably going to cost him his life.
He's going down. There's no doubt about it. Fulker is going to find him in that Grill 15 huge shot. Bobby in the bat shot goes down, and now this is looking terrible for Get Flanked. Shots on the Fulcris.
And now Get
Some
Flanked.
cap pressure, though. Wait a second. On the 2 cap.
They're going for the only option they have, which is stack tanks on cap. Pray that they can screen off with the rest of the guns.
Chai Sniper, though, is going to go down here in just a minute to Blue Mini. And that I-7, such a good alpha gun, is gone. It's out. And that armor was great as well. It's a tier 10 gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks left. Meanwhile, it's 7 for Team I. Get Flanked is getting destroyed. Ledif is going down in that Action X. Bryant is about to go down. 20 seconds left. This is not looking good at all. And then Andy Pants is actually going to take the reset shot. Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that unfortunately, Get Flanked is playing their last series tonight in the Gold League. Season 1, 2016.
And it's going to be Get Flanked that will leave us at the end of tonight. They still have to play one more round, the overtime tiebreaker. However, with the results of the other games, it will be Get Flanked going home.
I really want to know who it was on Get Flanked that called for that Crusader on defense.
I don't even necessarily blame the Crusader.
No, I don't blame the Crusader either, but I'm a little heartbroken right now. I really don't know. That on defense on Murovanka, and they gave it away.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Crusader did its job. It got the resets that it needed, and, that's the only reason they were able to stay in that game. However, you can't really always account for the M40-43 just finding last-minute iron off in that forest.
And that was
himself.
A great choice by High, by the way, to bring that and then to actually have it be as effective as it was.
And looking at the damage here, Ali, the Persian dude, coming in with a T-57 heavy with almost 4,000 damage, 1 HP short.
Yeah, and then Magenta Panda coming in with Fulcrus and Blue Mini behind, 29, 26, and 1,800 damage respectively. And then from there, the damage just drops off. And then another thing that it was kind of frustrating to watch is Get Flanked in that bad position that they were in. They didn't really make a move. They did not make a move, and they pretty much just went for what was possible or what was in front of them instead of repositioning, pulling those tanks out. Not being able to take out Rom in the 1390 in that bush, which they did actually tag.
Well, they tagged Permatrash. They never actually found Romstar that whole round.
No, they did tag Romstar. I can promise you that.
Well, it was after the battle was over. He pretty much was there. He yellowed in to make sure that some resets found, but I don't believe they ever actually found him while he was passive. It wasn't until they...
Well, he was never spotted, but they took shots on him.
Yeah, but it was Permatrash that was taking damage early on.
Are you sure?
Positive.
I'll believe you. But either way, yeah, it's just that push didn't really do anything. Their setup south didn't do anything for them, and they just stayed with it.
That's the biggest problem with going for that cap on Murovanka is you have to know for certain that you have some sort of system at clearing all of the passive scouts out of there, so you can even have that cap pressure as an option. If you can't keep your tanks from getting spotted on cap, then the E5s or 57s, as it will be, and the Grill 15 back there, will have clean reset shots for days. And that was the problem, is they couldn't come anywhere close to that cap. They couldn't get the RU on cap because the second he even got close to it, the 1390 lit him or the Batchat lit him. And when they got spotted like that, there was just nowhere for him to go. And you can't, it's either back off and stay alive or throw your tank on there and just end up dying on cap. Now, what I would have liked to see, preferably than what they did, probably wouldn't have affected anything, was put the Action X on cap sideways and throw a couple tanks behind it, and then just use the rest of the tanks to screen. Instead, they used the Centurion to push forward, and they put a Batchat and an RU on cap with no cover for each other. So it was just a matter of them being lit, and they would have gotten reset. At least if you put the Action X on there sideways and put the RU behind it, maybe a Batchat, then they have to commit all the way around behind them, and that gives you a little bit better of a fighting chance. But still, even then, with being down that much on the HP, being down on the guns, it's just not a likely situation that they were going to claw back from.
Right. And it's unfortunate. But we are going to go into overtime, which is going to be Himmelsdorf and Get Flanked have chosen to attack, by the way.
Yep. So
They've chosen to attack.
Yep.
Now Himmelsdorf.
Now what's going to be fun is Get Flanked should realize at this point that they've played their last round, which does mean that normally when the teams are in this sort of situation,
they do something
quote unquote fun. I will leave that up to many of your interpretation. Whether or not Get Flanked will take that round or they'll just play this seriously because they want that that last win at least, even if it doesn't mean anything, we'll have to see.
I mean, maybe it'll be a personal victory, but
they want to beat High after the trash talking. That could also be it. They just want to make sure that they get the win, just because Valley Persian dude.
So for some reason, High is taking a timeout.
They want to take an extra second to prepare for the battle. But yeah, no. Overall, Get Flanked just came so close. That first round of Murrow, they were within a matter of seconds.
I'm trying to not let it affect me, but I mean, you guys can obviously see it. Like I'm pretty devastated.
Yep. Well, Rival are going to be sitting there. They can actually breathe easy now. Rival are safe.
And congratulations to Rival and everyone else that didn't get relegated. Obviously, 07 must have played their damn hearts out.
Oh, yeah. No, they
against Eclipse there.
Yeah, they take it to overtime versus Eclipse. Like,
yeah.
They played
and I don't even
very
know
well.
how close that last battle was. But and Rival, I really hope that. And again, this isn't me thinking that I'm great or anything, but I really hope this is a wake-up call for you guys to really start playing like you should be playing, because you have so much talent on the team.
Well, no one expected Rival to be in the situation
and that's what I'm
that they're
saying.
in.
They shouldn't be in the situation in the first place. So I'm hoping this is a wake-up call. I'm hoping they come back and really get that synergy with their team going. And I want to see a strong Rival. I really do. So.
Yep,
the
thing to remember is going into the next round robin, the points in the table don't reset, so they're going to be in the same position, but they all play each other again. So any of these teams could theoretically move up and down. However, catching Apex and Eclipse and M60s is going to be one tough challenge for many of these teams. I think Deja Vu were the only ones relatively close. And who knows who's going to be in first at the end of tonight, because next we still have
an exciting match, by the way. Just because we finally did realize who did get relegated does not mean that that was the only storyline tonight. It is not. In fact, it could potentially even be a bigger storyline as we head into the next round robin, where Aquatic M60s are going to take on Apex to see who is going to be in the first place spot. If they end up beating them flat out and get 3 points, that means no matter what, Aquatic M60s are your first seed going into the next round robin, which is a pretty big deal.
Yep, and even an overtime loss for Apex will keep them in first place, especially with Eclipse dropping one of their points tonight. If Eclipse had won straight up, then they could potentially overpass Apex as well.
Potentially, but
well, actually no. But the tiebreaker goes to Apex, so it would still be Apex at least in second place. So it's all going to be up to M60s.
And then if they were all tied for whatever reason, I mean, Aquatic M60s, if they beat Apex, that's Aquatic M60s 100%, because they beat Eclipse and then they theoretically beat Apex. So
yeah, we'll have to see. It's going to be a close match. However, it looks like we are about to get underway with.
And I'll be honest, looking at. We'll talk about it right after we get into the map. So.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
So as I was alluding to earlier, we're not going to see any meme-filled strategies here, at least I don't think, because Get Flanked has chosen a pretty standard lineup.
Yep, Get Flanked bringing 250Bs, two 113s, a Bat Chat, a 1390, and a 215B. Meanwhile, High coming in with a 215Bs, a 50B, an IS-4, an E3, a Bat Chat, and a 1390. So they have a pretty solid lineup right there, especially for defense. That E3 will most likely just chill out at E4 in the window. The IS-4 looks like he's going to be going to A5. Meanwhile, they are going to send the rest of their tanks down the one line to make sure they secure it. Get Flanked on their hand, pulling their 50Bs out and around in the south. And the 113s just going to the window. They're just stopping here looking for any early damage they can get.
And then again, I'm going to note again that Get Flanked actually chose to attack.
So feeling comfortable attacking, defending on this map. I don't want to say it's a defensively sided map, because there are a lot of things that you can do to turn it into a good position while you're attacking, especially this map being as big as it is. It's kind of hard to defend both caps, and so as long as the team's patient and they make sure that they seize the right opportunities, I don't want to say it's easy for teams to attack, but it's not one of those maps like, say, Steps, where attacking can be extremely difficult. So we'll have to see what they do. The 50Bs are going to push out down here into the bottom corner. However, they do catch Blue Mini.
Blue Mini is already down.
And now they're going to back off and reload. DRS looking forward, trying to find some shots.
Still 2 shots, though, for Last Minute Iron in that clip. And DRS is actually going to miss.
So it's actually... And so Get Flanked are shifting tanks around. They're moving their 113s back to the south. Their 50Bs are rotating out. Meanwhile, 1390 Carjacks is getting a little bit more aggressive on the hill.
thing to note here is, although it may look like DRS is outnumbered and on an overmatched situation, that 50B of Field My Potato is still very much there to cover the crossfire, which would be very unfortunate if anyone from Get Flanked decided to just try to get that overmatch.
When they peeked out to get Blue Mini out there, they knew that they saw DRS there, and they even took some damage from him, I believe. And so they know that Batchat's there, and they're not going to sit there thinking that Batchat is there alone. They're going to know that there are probably some other guns in position to cover him. And so they kind of figured out, all right, well, that's not going to happen. And so they're doing what they're doing right now, which is kind of rotating tanks out. They're even pulling, looks like the 50Bs from the south. And the 113s are kind of moving back towards the south again. They're just kind of making laps over and over again.
They are, in fact, doing what we said they wouldn't do. And they were going all the way over west at about that Kilo line. They may be going for a push on this side. I'm not sure. Meanwhile, I mean, you still have the 215B of Chai and then Carjacks in that 1390.
They're just trying to figure out what to do. They aren't really committing anyone anywhere. The 215B is starting to push up the 8 line, though.
Yeah, and I mean, there's really not going to be anyone there to receive him, so. Interesting.
And now the push comes out of Get Flank, pushing through the south. Andy Pan's taking some damage, though.
Yeah, Andy Pan's taking damage indeed as DRS is trying to back up. Still 4 rounds in that clip. 4 shells in that clip, excuse me. Damage also coming onto last-minute iron from Field Mine Potato. They're going to Get Flanked is taking quite a bit of damage here, but as is High, Field Mine Potato going to go down, as is DRS. No, never mind. Bryant misses.
And they're making this play here onto the 1 cap. That 215B cut across the courtyard and got himself into a pretty good position to kind of help pin these tanks back for High. Get Flanked do have the cap pressure starting to go. However, Bryant is getting reset. And now it's actually Bobby that's going to go ahead and push up the 3 line here. Bryant taking a lot of damage from Field My Potato.
The Persian is also snapping shots off, trying to get as much damage as possible. There is no more cap pressure, but it looks like Get Flanked is actually going to be geared towards taking this. They have
a couple things.
Every tank alive, although 2 of them are one-shot.
There's a lot of HP left for High. However, Ali Persian is going to get focused out now. It looks like Carjax in that 1390 is going to come behind them. Tri-Sniper is going to push around and help Carjax with him. However, Carjax needs to make sure he holds his shots and put them in somewhere where they will penetrate easily.
And as you say that, he doesn't pen. Finally getting a shot in the back, and Carjax will be able to clean this up. Oh, never mind. That was a little too close.
And 2 tanks left alive for High. It's not out of the realm of possibility for them to clean this up.
But it's highly unlikely.
D4 fires, and now I expect to see Bryant aims for the lower plate and actually gets the track shot. Now last minute iron's coming around.
That E3, like we said before, is such a pain to take out, but they are going to do it. He's 1 shot away. He's ramming HP away, and he's still going to take out a tank.
And last minute iron is reloading, so if Permatrash could find last minute iron, this could become a very interesting situation. However, Carjax has 1 shot left.
Yeah, and he's going to do it. Another thing to note as well, I might add, is Ledif is still all the way in the back. Bobby's all the way in the back. Tri-Sniper, it's just down to Permatrash, and as if a moral victory for themselves, Get Flanked is... Whoops!
Not over yet.
The TK there from Chai.
And there
Bobby's
goes.
going to clean it up. That was a cheeky little final moment for Get Flanked. It makes me so sad. They're gonna win the series, but unfortunately, unfortunately they're going to be relegated out. But they won the series, and more importantly, James, they won that home.
No, they fought hard. They did their best they could to stay alive. However, it just wasn't enough. They needed all 3 points from this to secure their spot.
Devastating.
However, anyone that is from Rival or a fan of Rival is going to be breathing easy, as is 07 at this point. They also knew that there was a lot on the line. They knew they needed some results. and they managed to get that overtime loss versus Clips.
But what do you do now if you're a Get Flanked fan like me?
Cry? That's all I got for you.
I mean,
Sorry, bud.
realistically, what are you going to do? But I got to say, Get Flanked over the season, ups and downs overall, really impressed with them. They just have to look forward to